let's talk to PG here in Texas.
Cool.
PG, what's on your mind?
I don't know if my sample is just non-representative or too concentrated, but I've always wondered why seemingly atheists simply switch from the supernatural God to the God state.
Yeah, you're going to have to walk me through some of those terms. When you talk about a supernatural God and a God state, what does a God state mean?
Well, the attitude, say, evangelists would have toward God, the all-knowing, all-powerful being, it seems that many atheists have that same attitude toward the state, especially Democrats, I would say.
Yeah, so you're suggesting that most atheists, if not all atheists, leave religion and then become sort of authoritarian or want to rather give a lot of power to government. Is that kind of your contention?
That's what I've observed.
I would definitely check on your sample size. Honestly, the amount of like straight up anarchists within the atheist community is pretty high. Maybe not. That may or may not be a bad thing or a good thing or whatever else, but just to say, I really can't support that notion. I haven't really seen that represented.
Yeah, and like it is true that atheists in the United States tend to have more of a progressive lean. But that's not necessarily reflected in other secular Western nations as well that have larger non-religious populations. It does tend to even out a bit more globally. Mm-hmm. I think part of it, why you see it in the United States, is because like a lot of atheists do come from like evangelical backgrounds and do come from those. So like when that switch happens, when they're deconstructing that, they may also deconstruct some of their political ideas. And it just so happens that if you grow up evangelical, you're probably also like right-leaning, right? Like that's kind of the political culture that you grew up in. So your political ideas also get deconstructed along with your religious ones, and there's a comorbidity there, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was definitely raised to believe that there were no Democrats going to heaven. So, I didn't like leave Christianity and then immediately sign up with the DNC. But it is worth taking a moment to just recognize that there's a reason why a lot of people are leaving Christianity in America. And oftentimes that's going to have to do with treatments on political issues like, LGBTQ rights and, a number of other things. We could list it off for all day. But ultimately, PG, I just can't help but feel like your contention holds a lot of water. Is that fair?
Well, apparently our sample size are different, and I'm glad to hear that indeed not all atheists seems to just be state worshippers, because I can give the example from my home province of Quebec in Canada. Before the 1960s, it was a very religious and a little closed-minded society, but now within a span of, I would say, less than 5 years, the state had filled the void where the church was healthcare, education, social services. Now it's the fiscal hell of North America.
Well, yeah. So the Christian church has been the institution, been the representative institution for education, for healthcare, and for government for a long time. Because there wasn't any other choice in the matter for a lot of people. Like, that was just kind of the thing. Like, the Catholic Church literally used to be, like, giant rulers of nations. They had huge influence over political policies. So, like, when you're talking about worshiping the state, they literally were the state. So, that's just like a switch in power more than anything. I don't know, the fact that people may have more positive views towards universal health care, I'm not sure how much that has to do with their religious beliefs. I think we'd have to look at the individual numbers on that besides just anecdote, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say to that other than
get a bigger sample size.
Get a bigger sample size. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of atheists that lean left, but why is there a conviction of people on the right that have a God belief? Conversely, right? Maybe that's also something that's interesting to look at. But I don't know. That's all I have to say, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I guess we'll let you go then.
PG, thanks so much.
GG.